we've talked many times about venues, and haven't always agreed with you.
I think, I think you've printed, one of my graphs, which actually shows the rise and relative fall since 2000 of net square meters, and hence gross square meters, with the rise of the amount of exhibition space. And basically, the square meters were doing that, and the exhibition space was doing that. And you only had to look at that graph 4 or 5 years ago to know that you had to lose an exhibition centre. And that was the graph that said Earls Court is going to close. Something's going to close. It's not going to be the NEC. It's not going to be XL. It's going to be Earls Court. And that graph was telling you that. Really, really simple. It depends to an extent whether you're an exhibition manager, director, or whether you're an exhibition owner. And obviously, fundamentally, I'm an exhibition owner. The value in exhibitions, how many times have I said this to you and publicly? The value in exhibitions and all those high margins and all the rest of it is fundamentally defined by the slots, by the grandfather rights system, by the fact that if you own Spring Fair and Autumn Fair in the NEC, then the NEC are not going to let another giftware show in. And if you own Top Draw in Olympia are not going to let another giftware show in. And the underlying value of trade shows is very, very closely connected with the relative scarcity of slots. If there were 10, let me put it this way, if there were 10,000 foot runways within the M25, British Airways wouldn't exist. Because, of course, they dominate Heathrow. They own 50% of the slots. Same with exhibition centres. If you had 10 exhibition centres, large exhibition centres within the M25, then you would have a completely different industry.
I get that, but isn't the corollary of that the venues themselves therefore own the shows? Because
I mean, it's a good point. And the furniture show, of course, the interiors of the furniture show was perhaps the best recent example of when UBM attempted to close interiors in the NEC and move it to XL. And I won't go into the reasons why they did it, but of course, as you know, myself and my partners essentially just said that's fine. Talked to Paul and Catherine at the NEC and said, we've only got 10 days, but we will launch a furniture show and take the slot. We already had the Manchester Furniture Show, so we knew the industry quite well. We agreed on a handshake with Paul and Catherine, went in and just went round and told the exhibitors, don't worry about it. There is going to be a furniture show here next year, just as there has been for 25 years. And as it happened, Stephen Richards, key man in all of this, he was the man that had launched the furniture show in 1990 in the NEC. Basically, everybody said, fine. UBM were never able to effectively move interiors of the furniture show to XL, and within a year, it had closed down. And that was a really, really good example of the fact that there are certain cases where shows are intimately associated with a particular venue. Very, very good case. Also, it's true because there are a limited number of venues. I mean, in practice, XL could say we're putting your rates up 10% next year, and you can't actually turn around and threaten them and say, oh, that's not good enough, we're going to move it somewhere else.
Isn't that therefore a precarious position?
You would have thought so, but it's been true forever, hasn't it?
Maybe less so when Earls Court was around. Maybe there was that extra option.
I mean, Earls Court and XL didn't overlap for that long.
No, but I think the paucity of options makes it harder for the organising communities. Isn't there more control now with the venue community?
I'm not sure. I mean, there are a lot of Ricos of Liverpools, and there are 2 in Manchester, and there's Harrogate, etc. I mean, there are a lot of other, and there's the BDC, and there are a lot of other places where you can go and launch shows.
Launch, yes. Yeah.
Certainly, if you launch a show and it gets to a particular size, and you then actually find that there isn't a slot in the big 3. Yes, but then you've got to balance that against the effect that has on the people that are running the shows at the moment.
So you wouldn't be a fan of a further exhibition venue being built?
As somebody who owns exhibition companies and exhibition assets, no, and I never have been.
Because obviously it's still talked about. Do you haven't?
No. I mean, how would you justify it? I mean, look at the real occupancy rates of the NEC, XL. Olympia is obviously heavily occupied because it's got a particular spot just across the road here. But if you look at the real occupancy rates, why would anybody build another large exhibition centre? And of course, we have the seasonal thing. I mean, we discussed earlier, 70% of our turnover, Closer Still's turnover, comes in 9 weeks, in October, November. So yeah, it's hard to get a slot in February and March, depending on when Easter falls, and it's hard to get a slot in October and November. So yeah, occupancy rates do that, but for the rest of the year. So overall, the total occupancy rate is such that I wouldn't have thought it was a particularly attractive investment.
And what about you? I mean, you're still playing your tennis, you're still skiing, you still look very fit and healthy. How are you going to keep going?
Obviously, we need more senior people. I mean, I won't continue doing everything forever. I would certainly hope to stay as chairman, but there's certainly a case for having a new CEO within the company. Maybe a bit of fresh blood, maybe some new ideas. I would hate to say we are complacent, but it's after 10 years and 10 successful years, that show, the dentistry show, the pharmacy show, it's quite easy for complacency to creep in unnoticed.
Okay, well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It certainly has. Always a pleasure with you, Julian, you know that.
It gives some great insight into the life of Phil Soar, especially your business life, and long may it continue.
Thank you. Thank you.